Good morning, good morning. Welcome, everybody. Nice to have you back with me this morning. Glad you could tune in and join me today. So, we're going to take a look at the stock market today. We're going to look at the S&P 500 first. We're going to take a look at what that is doing. We're pushing to all-time highs again. It's crazy, this market, how strong it is. And we shouldn't be really that surprised because we were talking about the daily area of demand that was holding price up. I can open up the daily chart and we can see what I'm talking about here. This was a daily demand zone that was holding. I was pointing out how these moves here were event driven. These moves down over and surpassing the demand zone. Those were event driven. I wasn't too concerned about that. I wasn't looking at that and thinking that the demand zone had been breaking through. So with that demand zone holding, it was high probability that we were going to be seeing price continue to the upside. So this is how price moves on the charts, folks. Okay, it's not random. The markets don't move randomly. Okay, this buying zone that we located was an institutional buying zone. Okay, just like this one here, just like this one here. These are all institutional buying areas. This is where we suspect price will come and price will react from it and move to the upside. Now, not every single time does a demand zone hold though. Okay, as you can see here, there were times where demand zones didn't hold. Okay, and there's reasons why that happens. But as you can see right here, and right here, these zones are holding, and this is what's causing price to rally up. So when I take a look at the general market, it's up. Okay, it's strong. The banks are buying, and this is what we got to be focusing our attention on is buying. So I got a lot of stocks. Yesterday I added a lot of names to the list that I've already opened up positions on, and stocks that we are with our pending orders. I did some major analysis over the weekend and throughout the last couple of days, and noticed a lot of institutional buying zones on the higher time frames that price is retracing to. And I suspect that when price drops down to it, we're going to be getting some significant moves. Not only that, but I used a really good website called HedgeFollow. I think I've mentioned it to you guys before. It's a pretty good website with respect to following the big hedge funds and looking at whether or not they're positioned long, short, and looking at their average. And so what I've been doing is these stocks that I'm looking to buy, I'm looking at what the biggest players that are holding positions, what their average price is, and comparing it to the institutional buying zones that I'm locating on the charts. And you'd be surprised how many times these big players are adding positions at exactly those big institutional buying zones that I'm locating on the charts. So we're looking to get in and trade alongside these big players. All right. So that's just a little piece of information I wanted to pass on to you. So let's get down to what's taking place with Nvidia. Here on the left side of my screen, you'll see I did a snapshot of the trending tickers. Now, where did I get this from? I got it from Yahoo Finance. If you go to Yahoo Finance and you click on trending tickers, it'll give you a list of the trending tickers of today. So I like to go here once in a while and take a look at the trending tickers and see what's making it trend, what's everybody talking about, why is everybody looking at it, and look to see if there's any institutional buying zones that I could trade alongside the big players. So this one here, the first one is Nvidia. And so Nvidia is making a strong move to the upside. And if you remember, if you've been following us, you know that this was the institutional buying zone that I had mentioned and posted about in the Telegram channel. I also made members aware of this area as well. This is a big area where we were expecting price to rally from. That was $90, okay? We're at $209 right now. That's more than double your money, all right, from the spot that I indicated to members. So an impressive move. And again, the power of locating institutional buying and selling. Now, on the way up, we had some buying zones that were created. One was here. We were waiting for price to come down to it, and it never did come all the way down. But I want to bring your attention to this area here, okay? This here is some basing that we have, okay? Price was consolidating and basing here on the weekly time frame. Now we're getting price to shoot up really aggressively. So I'm going to be watching this area to see whether or not it's going to become valid and a good institutional buying zone for a retracement. Okay, eventually price retraces, and when it does, we'll look to enter. We don't like to buy at all-time highs. It's not a good time to buy a stock when it's at all-time highs, because at all-time highs, you don't know how much further it's going to go. So we don't want to participate in anything like that. We always want to wait for them to pull back into institutional buying zones, okay? On the daily time frame, we have a couple areas that they use, okay? Institutional demand zone here, and as you can see, they used it twice. Once here, and here's the second time, all right? Here's another institutional demand zone that was created, causing price to rally up, dropping back down, and now we're going back up again. And here's the latest institutional demand area. So if price were to come down here, we would expect a move to the upside like that. So we let it make its move. We don't buy up here, okay? This is retail traders. Retail traders are watching this trending ticker, and they're seeing price up at the highs, and they're thinking to themselves, well, maybe there's a chance this is going to go higher. So what they do is they search for news, and they hear some experts saying, we're expecting this to go to 250, 260, and so forth. So what they do is they buy here with the expectation that price is just going to continue going higher, and then that typically doesn't happen, okay? When price eventually starts to drop, they're thinking to themselves, wait a minute, I thought this was going to go to 250. They offload their positions, and as they're offloading their positions, that's when the banks come in and buy again at their institutional buying areas, okay? This is where we want to buy, because when we buy here, we can get big upside, okay? For instance, I've shared with you some thoughts on how we locate our targets. First thing I'll do is I'll take a look at this one. I think we got Paul Gardy's in the room with us. He's really talented at locating institutional targets. So let's do something here. I'm going to show you something. Okay, we're going to take this area here to the highs, and we're going to take that from the demand zone that we just located and see where we're at in terms of that. There we go. So we just reached that target. Okay, this would have been the target here. Okay, we reached it and we're surpassing it. Now we got to locate a new target, because obviously this wants to continue going higher. This is pretty high. This is pretty high up here. So because we have weekly demand being created, we're going to look at what the possible target is for price. So I would say we probably have something from here to here. Okay, and now we're going to take that. If price was to come into demand, we could see price coming up to at least around here. What do you think, Paul? Looks like a good one. I think it's about right. So what I like to do is I like to put the date 29th and mention that it's a weekly target, because we're basing this target on the structure that we're seeing on the weekly time frame. So I want to make that clear. And then all we do now is we long position. Okay, what we do is we set up our trade. Okay, so what we're looking for is we're looking for price to eventually drop into this area. Now, because this is the buying zone that we've located, we're looking to enter here with a stop loss just below, okay? Because we don't expect price to break through this zone. This was the area where the banks were last buying this stock, okay? A big one right here, big buying here from the big institutions. So first of all, we want this to become valid, and there's certain things that we wait for to ensure that this demand zone becomes valid. But once it becomes valid, then we set up our orders and we walk away. All right, it's as simple as that. And we're looking for a 4.72 to 1 move on this trade. Okay. So that's what we do. So I'm going to keep this one on the side burner and wait to see if that zone becomes valid. And if it does, I'll be looking to enter into a position there, okay, with the target up at the highs there. All right, BA, let's take a look at BA. Paul writes, your target is right in a zone I would expect a pullback from, so it looks good to me. Good, good. BA, Boeing, so what's going on here? It looks like earnings came out, mixed earnings, okay? So we're getting a drop in price. Let's look at the dynamic of what's taking place. And one thing I can see is we have a institutional demand area that's in play right now, right here, okay? And so we could be getting this negative earnings as an attempt to get retail traders to offload their long positions. I already have a trade set up here based off of this zone, aiming for $314. So this actually fits the bill with what's going on here. As you can see on the higher time frame, 6 month, we have a 6-month demand area. This is the last time banks were significantly accumulating a position in Boeing that caused price to rally up to 420, drop down, and look what's happened ever since it came down into this buying zone. As you can see, they're buying again and buying again and buying again, okay? So how many times are they going to keep on doing this? We don't know, okay? We don't know. But we could look at the monthly time frame, for instance. Every time price has been dropping in, we take a look at the RSI. Okay, this is one of the indications of whether or not momentum is going to start building to the upside. And as you can see, when when price came down to this area, RSI was pretty weak, well below 40, which is telling us that there was a lot of weakness there at that time. Okay, so it would take time to build momentum. Second time still, RSI below 40, which tells us it's still weak and not strong enough to make a significant move to the upside. And now on this last drop, we can see that the drop took us to just about 40, which is a strong signal, okay? Which is telling us that over time, we could now see momentum start to pick up and move to surpass the previous highs, okay? Our target is located right before a major institutional selling zone is contacted, because if price is to go up here, we'd expect some kind of a move to the downside from there. So getting in around here, targeting there is a logical move. So on the monthly, there's nothing to trade off of, but on the weekly, we have this dynamic here. Okay, we have this target, we have this demand here. That price fell short of it. We were expecting price to come down here. Well, not expecting, but if price was to come down here, our alert would have been triggered, and we would have been looking to get in here, targeting that upper target. It's too bad it fell short, because we would have been nicely in the green right now. But we got this secondary demand zone. We got a first test here, and now we're getting the second test here. Negative earnings. This is all smelling like a beautiful setup. Why negative earnings? Again, and people might say, well, listen, Kev, you're saying that they're using negative earnings to lure retail traders into selling so they could buy. How would they know that, though? How would they know that that was going to happen? How could this be so well timed? Well, whether it's well timed or it's just coincidence or whatever it is, you can call it whatever you want to call it. But what I have noticed over the many years that I've been following the markets is that too many times there's been these really strange coincidences where the institutions are in the process of doing something, and then all of a sudden their earnings come out and it just helps them in their cause. Okay, so what we're seeing here is big institutional buying with the chance of this going much higher to our target up above. And And the reason why we're suspecting price is going to rally up to that target is because of what we're seeing on all the charts. We look at the higher time frame, we see institutional demand coming into play. We look at the monthly time frame, we see the RSI shifting momentum, showing us more strength and more buying rather than selling. And then on the weekly time frame, we see buying zones coming into play. And so when you follow the storyline, this is telling us that it's likely going to continue to move to the upside. So this could be a really good one playing out right before our eyes here. Okay. So just want to add to the list here. Actually, I'm going to add that to another watch list here of mine. Beautiful. Okay. Now let's go to FI. What is FI? Big drop on FI. Fiserv. What does Fiserv do? Not sure what this company does, but I can see that they are ripping through institutional demand. Now, this is ripping through here on the 6-month. On the 12-month, we're ripping through as well, but this could be event-driven, like I was mentioning. We have events that come out, very negative earnings. Okay, I get it. So we're gapping down. We're going to be watching this area here because this is a big institutional area of buying that took place. Price dipped into it really quickly and it shot up like a rocket all the way to 220. So one thing that I would do, for instance, is I would look at this and I would think to myself, I wonder where the big institutions are sitting with their positions, or at least the big hedge funds. So I go to FI, I go to this website, I go to FI, here it is, we click on it, okay? And now I go by value owned, so I want to see the biggest players. And lately I've been using ChatGPT for this because it's a really good tool. You know, you just do a screenshot, you know, you do FI, right? And then I go over to my ChatGPT and I upload the image. It's pretty incredible how quickly you can get this done. And I just say, tell me what the average buy price is from the buy price column. And I click send. And then I just wait. And it usually takes a few seconds and pops me a number. God, it seems like again advanced analysis again. Oh, however, just list the numbers and quickly complete. Oh, it doesn't want to do it. Okay, my free has gone over the limit. Well, anyways, what I do is I use ChatGPT, but I've already used it a few times this morning, so it's not letting me do it until it resets. That's okay. And I get an average price, okay? So I look here, let me just scan and see what I see. 82, 110, 80, 60s, 111, 105, 190s, 166, 40, 190, 190. Well, let's say about 150, I guess, okay? That would be my estimate, would be about 150. So we look at that, 150. We look at where price is. Right now it's at 73. We'd be getting at a bargain if we got into the stock. But I wouldn't want to be getting in now. I need to wait to see if price wants to hold this area. There's a good chance that it does. And if it does, then I'd be interested in getting in, okay? So this could be a good area, but it's too early to get in right now. If I did get in $80, we'd be well below the average hedge fund price, which would be a good thing, okay? So something to pay attention to. Let's go to the NOK. Let's go to Nokia. Is it Nokia? Yeah, there's, you know, you could pay ChatGPT's like, I don't know, $30. I tried to pay once and it just didn't let me. I know it was American funds and I used a US dollar Visa that I had and it didn't go through. So I said, whatever, I'll just use it for free while I have it. It's just, they limit you on how many times you can use certain functions. And I'm fine with that if they want to limit it. That's okay with me. So let's see. Nokia, big move to the upside. Earnings were good. Everything good. Yeah, okay. So let's take a look at what's going on here on the charts. Let's look at the 12-month first of all. And it looks like price is responding from these lows here and making a significant move. But I would be cautious, okay? because I see a significant selling area right here at $10. So these spikes up are going to take us right into a selling area. So I'd be very cautious of that. It also looks like we have institutional supply here, although I'd have to check and validate that. And it looks like we're just hitting that right now, okay? So this is dangerous because we got major supply on the chart. And what do I mean by supply? That means selling zones that, were contacted before and respected. Okay, you see how this big spike drove price right through, but then held and dropped price right back down. We're coming back into that area right now. All right. So if somebody made me trade this stock right now, I would be shorting it. Okay. Yeah, you could copy and paste the spreadsheet. Yeah, I just like to do it the quicker way, and the quicker way is just use ChatGPT, upload the photo. Yeah, I'm sure I could. How am I going to get just this data? I'd have to copy everything, put it into a spreadsheet. It takes too long to do that. I'd rather just send it in there. Okay. So Nokia, I would stay away. Looks like selling is coming into play, and more likely than not, we're going to get a push to the downside. Okay, looks like every time price rallies up to this area of supply, it just ends up coming back down again, and now we're back up there. Okay, is Nokia doing anything special anyways? Let's see. So we're at $9. Let's go to Nokia and okay, and let's see. Yeah, most hedge funds are holding positions down in the 4s and 5s. So this spike up, they're happy right now. So they're looking at this chart. They're like, well, every time it gets down here, it rallies. So let's just buy down here, wait for the rally. They're profit taking right now. I bet you any money. And watch what happens as price plays out. Okay, I wouldn't be surprised. Verizon. Oops, let's see. VZ, Verizon. All right, so here we go again, talking about institutional buying and selling. Look what happened when the banks dropped price into their buying zone, okay? That was at $30. We rallied up to just about 48. Our target was 49, fell short of it, but we still believe that there's a chance price is going to rally up there. And why up there? Well, because that's where institutional selling is, okay? So this buying is happening from the lows, where the institutional buying zone is, and now they are going to rally up to supply. When they get up to supply, they'll drop price. Okay, so long-term holder, not really. No, not really good long-term holder. I wouldn't want to be holding this long-term. Once it gets to this supply area, I expect to see a major drop in price. Cat, I was just looking at this one, Caterpillar, and lo and behold, take a look at this one. Take a look at this one. This is nice. I like this. Okay, we had our institutional demand area on the 6-month time frame that we were watching for, and it was $266 was the buying area. And take a look. Price came down really quick, tested our buying area, just fell short by a couple pennies, and now big strong move. This is the bank's buying. Okay, I am looking to enter into a long position here, and I am looking to enter it into this area right here. Okay, I'll be targeting up here. I put that target up there a few days ago. So what I'm looking for is some kind of a drop to get in for the move to the upside. This is an amazing, amazing demand zone. I mean, when we're looking through the charts and we're looking for textbook setups that look just so perfect, this is it. Okay, this is a really, really perfect setup. All right, I was listening to some audio yesterday. Jesse Livermore, you guys remember Jesse Livermore? He was talking about how traders make money in the markets by waiting more than doing. And that's because a lot of traders like to get into the markets and buy and sell and, always be doing something. But what you should really be doing is looking for those ideal setups, putting your trades, and then being patient. This one could take some time to play out. But look at the strength in this move here. This is institutional buying here that's taking place. And we had a buying zone here too, okay? I labeled this as a dark brown zone because this was called a magic zone, which was a zone you wanted to buy from. Okay. So how would you have liked to buy Caterpillar stock at $221 when now it's just about to reach 600? Not bad, almost three times your money, right? Not bad for a long-term investment. And that wasn't too long ago. That was in 2023. Okay. So October. So only 2 years ago. Triple your money. Have you tripled your money in your retirement account or any other investments in the last 2 years? No. You know how many people would pay for the opportunity to have their money tripled in 2 years? Well, this is a perfect opportunity. You wouldn't have spotted this opportunity unless you knew how to spot the institutional buying and selling. But this is one you should keep on your watch list. Okay, CMBN. Oh, BM. Let's see what this is all about. Yeah, big gap up. I don't like trading stocks that look like this. No, it's not good. Okay, you're just taking a risk. It's too much risk here. Nothing decent here. Let's see what price is reacting from. Looks like there's some supply here and supply above here. Yeah, it's too risky. I wouldn't bother with it. Amateur traders are looking at stuff like that and trying to trade it because they see big momentum in it. Bloom Energy Corporation, BE. So it's fairly new, big move to the upside. Let's look at what the institutions are doing here, the hedge funds. Let's see by value owned. It looks like 18, 20, 17, 18, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 17. I'd say $18 is the average price. We're at 138. That's not bad. In fact, if you would have spotted this stock earlier, you would have noticed that this was a big institutional demand area right here. Okay. Look at that. Big institutional buying happened here at 10 bucks. They rallied price up to 45. They came back. They bought again at $10 and now it's at 138. Not bad, huh? Not bad. If you would have spotted this one. I think this is the first time I've ever seen this stock. Okay. So this is good to follow these trending stocks because I'm sure that when we had that initial big spike up in price, okay, this was a trending stock. And if you would have been able to spot this one as it was trending at the time, it would have brought it onto your radar. You could have located that institutional buying zone on the 6-month time frame, set your orders, and away she goes. Okay. Um, I don't see any institutional demand on the monthly, so I'm looking at the weekly. It looks like we had one right here. Right here. Price gapped up, came back down, and now away she goes. So looking pretty strong. I'll keep this on my radar, but I don't see anything juicy right now. It looks like all the demand zones are in play. So we'd need to wait for new demand to come in because this has already been played out. All right. Okay, so, but want to keep on the lists. PPBT. Let's take a look at this one. Yeah, another one of those stocks. I wouldn't want to touch that. CVS. Well, here we go again. All right, so we look at the 6-month time frame. What do we see? We have an institutional demand zone that has finally been contacted right now at $49. This is big institutional buying taking place here, okay? And this is why it's rallying up to $83. So this is on the 6-month time frame. So now we look for new buying to come in and see if we can locate any zones. And I am spotting one right now. Okay, I'm going to show you something. This is a big institutional selling zone that has just been removed. The supply that they just removed, I'm going to watch this chart because what I see happening here is the banks are coming in with some new buying right here, okay? But I need this zone to become valid first. Check for validation. So in a couple months, I'm going to check to see if this is valid, okay? And if it is, I'm going to take a trade off of it. Plain and simple. Why? Because the big banks are buying right here from $48, from $49. Yeah, between 45, 49. The only thing is when I look at this chart, I think to myself, let's do some more analysis here. We got that, we got this supply, demand. Okay, and then so we had supply where, oh, this was a very, very, very important zone, this one, my friends. This was important. This one here on the monthly time frame. It did something really significant. So it being removed right now is a big deal. Okay. The banks removing this selling area on the monthly time frame is a big deal. All right. Now, obviously, we got to take into consideration that price could rally up here and drop again because it's done that before. So if I was to go long this one, I'd want to have a target near the highs first in case it doesn't want to go higher. And I see the perfect spot for that would be right about here. Okay, this would be my target. And I would call this the monthly range target. Okay, because this is where it would likely be. So in terms of a trade, I'd be looking to set up my trade something like this. Okay. With my first target at 3.11 to 1. And in case it breaks out and goes higher, because there's a decent chance that happens, I'd be finding a target higher up. We could also look at CVS and see what the hedge funds are doing with it. CVS. And what do we see? Value owned, 72, 68, 66, 60. So we're looking at late 60s is the average price, right? We're at 83. If price comes down into this price, so this is what I do, right? Let's go to horizontal line and I'll mark it with the average head from, what did I say it was? 60, I'd say, yeah, mid 60, 65, right? I'll get the actual number later on, but this is just for purposes today to show you what I do here. So I sync it and I take a look, right? I know that the average price is around here. I'll be buying here, so I'm above average price. I like to be below average price when looking to accumulate a stock, obviously, so that you know that more likely than not going to go much higher. But the fact that we have average price just below here and we see this significant supply being taken out, if this zone becomes valid, any drop to this area, I'll be looking to buy. And then, upward targets, what would I target here? It's difficult to say when we don't have something trending here, but what I would do is I would take a look at this move here. All right. And I would examine that from the institutional demand that we just contacted. And I would put a target around here. Very reasonable target if it breaks out. Okay. And so this is October 29th, 25, and it's a 6-month target. Okay. So I will sync that so it's all across the charts. I go back to my monthly. So I have the one trade, right? And then the second trade, or the secondary position, would be targeting that bigger move, which would be a 5.91 to 1. Okay, so I'd be getting in first target here, second target there. Okay, if price drops after its initial move from this supply, then I have locked in some profits, and I wouldn't be too concerned about holding the rest of my position. Okay, so this is a pretty good one. I like this one. I'm just going to watch to see if it becomes valid. And let me just add it to watch list here. Perfect. Okay. There's a rotation in capital in healthcare and biotech again, it seems. Yeah, we could take a look at these sectors and see what's going on there. Okay, let's see. Let's look at Etsy. I like Etsy. I've looked at their stock before numerous times. Looks like we are responding to a massive, massive buying zone. It's a good buying opportunity on Etsy. Yep, massive buying zone. Look at the 12-month chart. Look at this. Look at this. Okay. This is huge. Okay. This is huge. Demand and play. Let's change the color to brown. This is telling me that there is a potential major accumulation of a position here. Let's take a look at the monthly time frame and see what's going on here. Yeah, this is good. It's already made its move above the 6-month, just above the 6-month. I would be targeting a move. Let's see. Yeah, we have institutional supply here. So again, you want to be safe. You target the major institutional selling area. Okay, not alert. Target. This would be a monthly target. And if it does break out, I'd be looking at this here. As my long-term target. Okay, so let's share those targets on the other charts. Okay, this looks good. This looks very good. So it would be something like that. Stop loss here. We have our first target at 2.45, second target at 6.52. Okay, now could it take some time? Sure, but this is long-term holding positions. Okay, this is buy and hold, right? Not buy and hold forever and hope that everything works out magically for you. No, this is buying at institutional buying zones and holding until institutional selling areas come into play. Because those selling areas, when they come into play, we see drops in price. Okay, we see this all the time. This is what happens in the market. All right, so I don't want to buy and hold a stock forever. I only want to buy and hold it when the banks are buying and holding it. When the big institutions accumulate a position, that's when I want to accumulate. When they distribute their position, that's when I want to distribute my position. Okay, so I like this one. I'm going to set up a trade on this one. Not right now, but after this session, I'll be setting up orders to take advantage of this one because I like the way it is setting up. And I'll share this one with members as well. But you basically got the trade set up, okay? I just gave it to you if you're curious, all right? Long-term holder. This could take 2-3 years to get there, and I'm fine with holding that. All right? Lucid, LCID. At all-time lows. Yeah, I don't know what it's doing, so I wouldn't even bother with it. LRN. Oof, oof, oof. Wow. This looks really good. This looks really good. You know why? Because this major drop is bringing price right down towards a significant demand zone. LRN, let's see what's going on here. LRN. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, well, would you want to be buying a stock that's dropping so hard? Listen, if it's a big stock, all right, and it's owned heavily, yes, you do, because bad news happens to every stock. Okay. Let's see. Earnings look like it was good, so something happened with earnings. Missed LRN. You know, you could dig in a little bit deeper to find out what it is. LRN. Well, let me see. Right here. Open a new tab. And read the articles, okay? Let's see. Investors await decision, big tech, LRN deep dive, platform upgrades weigh on guidance despite enrollment gains, online education stride, reported results beating Wall Street's revenue expectations with sales up 12.7%. year on year to 620 million. On the other hand, next quarter's revenues guidance of 630 million was less impressive, coming in at 3.47. On the other hand, next quarter's revenue guidance 3.4, so below analyst estimates. So what? So what? And people freak out. They're like, "Oh, it's below estimates, so we're going to sell." Its non-GAAP profit of 1.52 per share was 20% above analyst consensus. Listen, let me tell you something, okay? BlackRock owns it at 36 bucks, okay? If price comes down to this area here, look, BlackRock obviously bought it right before the big move, okay? Look, right here. You see the big explosive move started from here, right? And what do you think that price is at? $36 in that area, okay? So when the big institutions came in and bought, that's what causes them to move price up. And guess what? They bought one more time here, which caused price to go up. The banks don't like to buy at highs unless they're going to make it go higher. All right. So if they wanted to accumulate this stock at a lower price, what you got to do is you got to look, years in the future. Okay. When you look at a chart like this, you're like, right away, you have this idea that price is hitting a ceiling up here, right? Because it's at the top of the charts, right? And just like, when you're looking at the chart, you're looking at price down here and it looks like it's hitting the floor. It looks like it's being supported here and it looks like it can't go higher than that, right? But what you should do is you should just shrink the chart up like this, okay? And put things into perspective, okay? Because if you were able to go into the future and see this, okay, and price was up here, you wouldn't be thinking of this as, oh, it's a big drop. They missed on earnings and forward guidance is not good, so we got to sell shares. You wouldn't be focusing on that. You focus on the bigger picture here. Focus on what this could be 5 years from now and what there is proof of, okay? Now, the reason why I'm not suggesting that this is going to happen is because right now what we're seeing on the charts, there's no proof of anything like that suggesting that there's going to be a move to the downside, okay? What I'm seeing is that the banks came in with significant buying here, and they're coming in with significant buying here. That's what I see with my own eyes on the charts, okay? So there's no reason to suspect that anything else but a move to the upside is going to happen. So, so BlackRock's in at cheap, 36 bucks. We have some guys holding $151 million of shares, or 157 at 121. All right, they got up at the highs, right? They're up here. So they believe that they're just going to hold this sucker and eventually be in profit. That's what they believe, all right? And if you want to get more in depth with this stuff, you can look at, the performance of this company that bought it at $121 square points. Okay, you can see, it's a fund rated 5-star. All right, you could take a look at their performance, look at their portfolio, look to see, do they have a history of getting into stocks at highs, price drops below their average price, and then later on goes much higher? Do the homework. If you do the homework, you'll start to see reputations for these hedge funds, so that when you come into this website and you look at what their positions are, you have a better idea and better feeling for where these guys are at and what their expectations are, okay? So I see 121, 30, 60, 117, 131. There's a lot of guys above 100 bucks right now, okay? If price was to get into this buying zone here, you'd be well situated getting into a position here. And where would I be targeting? I'll tell you. I'll be targeting. It looks like this is going to be a very conservative target of $201 based on what I'm seeing here on the 6-month time frame. So I'm going to put in the date like I do, 29th, 25th, 6-month target. Like that, share it, and away we go. And then I just place my orders in. Here. Now I want to make sure I don't miss the trade. So I'm going to put it in a very strategic spot here. And I'm going to put my position like that. Okay, so that's a 5.49 to 1 risk to reward. Now, this is a 6-month chart. It could take a year to get there, but that's okay. Let it take a year, because as price builds up off of this buying zone, there's going to be new buying that's going to come in, okay? The banks aren't just going to be buying over the span of 6 months, okay? That's what they did here. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 2 years of accumulation of a position. And then they shot price to the upside within 6 months. And then they accumulated for 6 months. And then they shot price up for a year. Now they're dropping it within a year to reaccumulate. They're likely going to take maybe 6 months again, maybe a shorter span of time. And then as price rallies, there's going to be areas where they're going to accumulate a position and it's going to take about a month. There's going to be areas where they're going to accumulate a position it's going to take about a week. And there's going to be areas of accumulation where they're going to take about a few days. And we're going to locate those buying zones as price rallies up. So we're going to initiate a core position here. We'll add to our position as it goes higher. Add again at the next areas of demand that they create, targeting here. So overall, by the time we're done with this, we'll have a very, very hefty position on this stock. And remember, as price goes into your favor and you have a positive equity there, your broker will look at that and give you leverage on that if you have a leveraged account. So you're up $5,000, your bank's going to give you another $10,000 of buying power. You know, that's how it works in this accumulation. So it's really good. And if they have any dividends, you'd be profiting on those dividends as well. It looks like this one doesn't have any dividends, which is fine. Okay, but LRN, I am adding this to my list, and you should be too. And I'm going to be entering into a trade here. This looks good. I'm going to be doing a little bit more analysis first, though. Find out a little bit more about this company. Revenue 620 million versus analyst estimates 616. Adjusted. Okay. Read the story. You know, see if it looks good. It looks like big money is invested in them. So who knows more about this company than I do? Everybody, pretty much, who's got $200 million invested in the company, and just under $1 billion from BlackRock. State Street, $250 million. One guy I like is Tudor Investments. I like him. I like Millennium Management. And I like Point72 Asset Manager, and he initiated a new position. His average price is 135. So, folks, we buy this at 60. We are laughing. We are laughing. Okay, and I'll tell you, these guys know what they're doing. Okay, Renaissance Technologies, Jim Simons, everybody knows. His average price 112. So you know, guys, this is a house going on. This is like a house going on a foreclosure. Okay, being able to buy something this cheap. And then I buy and I hold. What do you think, Paul Gardy? This one looks good too, eh? Etsy looks really good too, yeah. I agree. We should have a session with the students after this one. After I finish this one, we should have a session with the students and go over these ideas. Plus, I have a whole list of other ones that I need to share with you guys, so we can go over that. That would be fun. Okay. Yeah. So I've added that one. All right. So let's look. VSEE. Not something I would want to touch. Okay. So ENPH. Hmm. 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 Okay. This one's quite interesting because look what we've got here. Big institutional demand coming into play here. Now, is it going to hold? Who knows? ENPH. What are they up to? Who are these guys? ENPH. I don't think I've looked at these guys. BlackRock. Okay, Jim Simons owns them. This gentleman opened up a new position, $50. We're at 32. Let's see average price. Most people are underwater. We're at 32. We have Renaissance Technologies at 53, BlackRock at 60, 97, 104, 132. Yeah, this could be a good one too. Although, yeah, earnings looks good, but gap down. This could be institutional buying down here. Something to watch. I'd be paying attention to this one. It could be good. It could be good. I'll put this one on watch here. This could be a big buying one as well. Big buying. And if I see correctly, I'd be aiming up here. This would be the first target I'd have. This is big institutional supply. So I'd be targeting here. And big institutional supply. Secondary target would be up here. This could be a good long-term hold. Get in at 32, exit at 110, and then at 207. Not bad, eh? Yeah. All right, that one looks good. I'll keep that one on watch. KHC, Kraft Heinz Corporation. No, I wouldn't touch it, okay? Look at Warren Buffett's average price, $77. Terrible. I wouldn't touch it. FGL is the last one. Yeah, at the lows. I wouldn't touch this one either. Somebody mentioned, yeah, a session with students. Yeah, we'll do it. BYND. Let's take a look at that one. No, I wouldn't touch it. Beyond Meat, I wouldn't touch it. First of all, I don't want to support their product. What made it spike from $1 to $7? What is that? Is this the new meme stock? What's going on here? BYND. Beyond Meat. Everybody's underwater on this one. There's Jane Street's holding it at 1859. Look at State Street, 33. Brutal. Millennium, $55. Not bad. BlackRock, $63. Wow. Yeah, so I wouldn't want to touch this one. Big spike up. I don't know what caused this big spike up, though. But this company's not doing well. Look at all the hype, right? When they first came out, 2019. All the hype at $200. And then, wow, crazy. That would have been a good one to short. That would have been a good one to short. All right. Anyways, they signed a contract with PepsiCo a while back. Yeah. All right. Very good. So I gave you a nice list, guys, to work with. Okay. Those who are not members, I gave you a nice list to work with right now, and things to keep your eye on. Okay. I just pointed out some significant buying zones on the stocks and how I'm going to trade them. And so just remember, a year from now, 2 years from now, when I say, remember that stock I told you about? Well, I bought it, I held it, and now I'm profiting. All right. You can easily grow your accounts by just buying these stocks and holding them for 6 months, a year and a half, okay? Letting that equity increase, using that equity and the leverage that you get from that to buy more shares of other companies, and just keep on doing it, rotating it. Once you hit your targets, you take your profit, take that equity, put into new trades, right? We're always buying low and selling it at the highs, buying at demand zones, selling at supply zones. Okay, my friends, that's it. I'll let you go. I'm going to take a break, and then I'm going to set up a session for members only, and we'll review the stocks that we picked out today, as well as some other ones that I have on my lists, and then we'll take it from there, okay? If you want in on these sessions, come and join us. We'd like to have you. And remember, in December, we're going to be putting up the prices. We're not doing it in November. That was the original plan, was to put up the prices in November, but we have a new membership structure that we're using now. We're switching old members to the new structure, and so we're allowing them some time to do that. So still lock in your price, same price, $149 to become a student every single month. You get top-notch trades like this all the time. All right. Anyways, you take care. We'll talk to you guys later. Students, we'll see you soon. Okay. Take care, everybody.